In this Flash assignment, what we're going to create is an orbiting sphere. Make it look like we have a moon rotating around a planet. We're also going to do this, and we're going to give the illusion that there is motion in a 3D space. Now, obviously you can see that Flash is 2D, but we're going to give it that depth illusion with a certain thing that we're doing. So we're going to start a new file, and whenever we work with Flash, you always have the option of choosing ActionScript 3.0 or 2.0. And ActionScript is the coding that goes on certain symbols to make it do things. Sometimes we use ActionScript, sometimes we don't use it at all. In this particular instance, we're not actually using it, but when we do, we probably want to use 2.0 because it's a little more user-friendly to people that are not true coders. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that one anyway. All right, now remember your stage is the white area, the gray area is off stage. Right up here, we have a zoom menu that lets us zoom out, make the stage very small. It also lets us fill that area, our workspace, with the stage so it's as big as we can possibly get. Now, first thing I want to do is I'm going to choose my oval tool. We're going to draw two spheres on our stage. I'd like to start off by making sure that my stroke color is transparent. That's the white box with the red line through it. I want my fill color to have a gradient. And remember that gradients are one of the ways that we create an illusion of 3D. So I'm going to choose the red to black. I'm also going to make sure that my object drawing mode is on. If it is light gray and the same gray as the rest of the toolbar, that means you're in merge drawing mode. If you click it though, it becomes a little darker gray, and that means we're in object drawing mode. So in order to draw a perfect circle, I am going to hold my shift key down as I draw a circle in the center of my stage. You see the box around it, which shows that it's a drawing object. Also up here in the properties, it's showing me that it's a drawing object. Now, I can estimate that it's in the center of the stage, or I can use my Align panel and align it to the center of the stage. Next, I'm going to draw a moon. This particular one is going to have, again, no stroke, and it's going to have a blue to black gradient. I'm going to hold my shift key down again to make sure that it's a circle, and it's going to be smaller than this first one. And I'm going to position it up in the upper right corner. All right, now we want to go ahead and select both of these. And there's a couple ways you can do it. Obviously, you could get your selection tool and drag a marquee around it. That selects it. But when you have items that are on the same layer or in the same keyframe, all you have to do is click on that keyframe and both of them get selected. Now, the reason we're selecting both of these, as you have seen in the readings you've done, anytime that you want to apply a motion tween, it needs to be on a layer all by itself. And right now, both of these circles or spheres are on the same layer. So if we select these and hold down the Control key, you can click on one of the two spheres and you get a pop-up menu. And down here at the bottom, one of these options is Distribute to Layers. Go ahead and select that. Now you have 3 layers on your timeline. One of them has a circle with a hole in it. That shows that it's an empty keyframe. That was our original layer, and there's nothing on it right now. That's that empty keyframe, so I can delete that layer. These other 2 solid circles mean that there's something on them. So right here, when I clicked on layer 3, that showed me that it was the big planet. So I'm going to double click on my layer so that I can rename it planet. And that means that the other one is my moon. And I'm going to go ahead and name it. That way I know which one is which. You won't get confused. Now that you have them on 2 layers, we want to go ahead and lock the planet layer and then select the moon layer. Now, we're going to make the moon fly in a path around the planet so that it goes behind it and in front of it. And we're actually, instead of just putting a motion tween on, we're actually going to draw the path. Okay? So what I'd like you to get is your oval tool again. This time I want you to set your stroke color for black, and I want you to choose transparent as your fill color. And we're not going to hold the shift key down, and I simply want you to draw an oval, something like this. Okay? Then we're going to use our free transform tool so that we can rotate it and possibly resize it as necessary. And we want it to go through the planet about like this. I want the center of it to be close to being the center of the planet. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it needs to be close. All right, now I drew this in object drawing mode. Okay, I actually need it to be in merge drawing mode. So I'm going to do two things. First, I'm going to move this little moon out of the way, and then I'm going to Command B to break it apart. Now, I can tell that it's now merged, that it's a shape because of the dots on it and because it says shape up here in properties. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I am going to use my eraser tool right here to erase a small little dot right there. All I did was make one little click on it. And then I'm going to move my moon back, and notice how it kind of snapped into place on it. That's a good thing. That's what you want. Now, once your path looks like mine, I want you to double click on it to select it, and I want you to cut it, Command X. Okay? Now, it's on our clipboard. We didn't draw it for nothing. It's on our clipboard. We're going to use it. But the next thing that I need to do is I need to actually put a motion tween on this moon. So I'm going to do Control click, create motion tween. It's going to give me a message that this needs to be converted to a symbol in order to tween, and that's fine. So I'm going to click OK. All right, now the planet appears to have vanished. That's only because our playhead is now out at 20 frames as opposed to the just one that's lasting. So I'm going to go ahead and hit F5 to insert frames just so this one lasts the same amount of time. Okay? Now I'm going to make sure that I'm on my moon layer again, and I'm going to Control click, and I'm going to choose paste in place. Okay? Now, what that's doing is this is acting as the path, and I'm going to zoom out again, acting as the path that the moon is going to follow around the planet. What I have to do, though, is I have to make sure, right now on frame 1, I want to make sure, oops, I'm moving my path. I'm not meaning to move my path. I'm making sure that my moon is attached to the first part of it, and it is. Then I'm going to come here to frame 20, and I'm going to make sure that it's on the end. Remember how I split that path into two pieces? That's what I'm doing. Now if I hit enter or return, my moon follows the path. Now, it's moving awfully quick. I want to slow it down, so I'm going to drag that out to 40, and I'm going to hit F5 on the bottom one, and that's going to make it last a little bit longer, and that's a good thing. Now, I want you to lock the moon layer, and I'm going to unlock the planet layer. Obviously, we have the basic motion of the moon at this time. However, it's just going in front of the planet, both going and coming. So we want to do something to change that. On the planet layer, I'm going to select my planet. And remember, we drew it in object drawing mode. I'm actually going to break this apart now as well. Command B. Okay, it has the dots on it. I can see it's a shape. I'm going to use my line tool, and I'm going to make my line this lovely shade of green. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want to actually use this merge, and I need to make sure that I'm in merge mode now, to cut this planet in half. And I'm going to do it right here. Okay? Now, as soon as I do that, notice I can select the bottom half or the top half. I'm going to go ahead and do a Command X on the top half. I'm going to double click on the green line and delete. And I'm going to create a new layer that I'm going to move above the moon, and I'm going to call this top half. And I'm simply going to make sure my playhead is in frame 1, and I'm going to Control, click, paste in place. Okay? Now the top half of my moon is in the top layer, bottom half is in the bottom layer. Okay, but it does look like one piece. Now as I hit return or enter, my moon goes behind the planet as it flies to the left and in front of it as it flies to the right. Now, if you at some point notice that your moon is not going completely behind it, there's a couple things you might try. Okay, you might try adjusting your path a little bit. Remember that you can push, and I can hide that to work on it. I can push and pull on my path. Okay, you do have to make sure you get it in the right spot to do it, but I can push and pull. You might also, if it's only a little bit, you might actually try making your moon a little bit smaller. Okay, but as soon as you're done with that and you've tested it and everything looks good, then we can save this. And we're going to save this to your folder in schools as period, last name, orbiting sphere. And then in order to see it as a SWF file, remember that you have to go to Control, Test Movie, which is the same thing as doing a Command Enter. Okay, and when you see your icons, we know that the red one, the red background, is your flash file. That's your editable file. The white one actually has SWF on it. This is the one that you can share with others. They don't need to have the Flash software in order to view it. The SWF file is the one that you will upload to your Google Drive so that you can update your Google site.